everybody. Welcome back to the newest episode of the Theater Enthusiast podcast. I'm so happy and delighted. I really am to welcome our next guest, currently starring in Gypsy. Should we just call her like Queen Audra McDonald?
I suppose so. Yeah, that
Yeah,
seems fitting.
how would you refer to well, for you it's mother,
She's mother. She is mother.
quite
But
literally mother.
she's just so darling.
Darling, how about like darling Queen Mother,
Yeah,
Audra McDonald?
perfect. Yes.
Please, to me,
Inspiration to us all.
yes. One of the actual standouts of Gypsy, which I did tell you before we started. Please welcome Jordan Tyson. Whoop whoop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah, applause everywhere. Whoop whoop. Yeah. I will also say, like, you did a high kick in the show, and I was sitting there and my body hurt because I was like, how does she like physically? It hurts me. Like now I've been seeing not to age myself, but I'm going. I've been seeing shows since I was five.
Wow,
Yeah,
yeah.
my first Broadway show was when I was five, and I am a lady of
Mhm.
a certain age now, so over 30 years of seeing shows. And the older I
Yes.
get, when I see these people doing like these things on stage, my body physically hurts me. I'm like, I don't understand it.
My
Like,
body hurts doing it, so it's fine.
how
I feel the same way.
do you stretch it out? Like, what's your, yeah.
Yeah, I've sort of had a learning curve because actually I truly had no idea
Mm,
that my body could move the way that it is right now. I'm not, like that's not my primary sort of like
yeah.
vessel or like thing that I love to do is dancing.
Mhm.
Um, so since before we began rehearsal, really, I've been really kind of committed to moving my body in the ways that I know how,
Mhm.
but that has sort of had to expand because of what's being asked of my body. So,
Mhm.
like, I'm a yogi. I love slow, deep muscle building movements, stretching. So, stretching, I think,
Mhm.
was really helpful for me for
Yeah.
this. Because though I'm not like a trained ballerina, my body does, like stretch in a certain way because of other things.
Mhm.
But it's a daily commitment. And it's not just like the movement of it, it's what I eat, it's what I'm consuming, how often I move my body.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a
A
lot.
lot of PT as well.
Yes,
Bone
definitely PT
rolling.
massages. I actually found myself, I got a massage like a week ago after not having gotten one maybe like over a month. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so bougie. But it's not even about being bougie. It's like if I didn't get that, my body was going to scream at me and be like, you need extra help. Like I can't, I cannot actually fully upkeep my body just on my own. I
Mhm.
actually need those extra hands of someone else to,
Yeah. I
um,
think that's a good lesson too for anybody who's listening and who wants to kind of like get in the field that you have to listen to your body. And if you're like, oh yeah, I should get that massage,
yeah.
you know?
It's care. It's not like I'm, frivolous and I'm just gonna, it's tending to your literal body for
Yeah.
health.
I will say it's so funny you said the bougie thing because like I have looked into getting facials and I've looked into getting massages and I'm like, I am
Mhm,
not spending two to
mhm.
$300 on a facial. I will use the fresh brown sugar facial scrub.
Yes.
Get that exfoliation in.
Yes,
Use my
that's who I am. I think that's who I am. However, I will say now having basically like over a year now on the Broadway contract and the in and out of makeup all day, every day, and moving my body all day, every day. Um, I've had to sort of upgrade kind of what I'm doing because there's only so far that, well, I'm not an esthetician or anything, so
Mhm.
I don't even know like the basics of facial care and stuff. So
Yeah.
I have been more willing to splurge because I'm like, I need some help, yo. I
Yeah,
need some help.
I get it. I am a little worried though about getting a facial because the last time I had one, my face broke out so badly. Like I had
No.
such a bad reaction to whatever they did to my face. I had to go on steroids.
Oh my gosh.
And I spoke to the esthetician about it after. And then like a few little while later, we were talking about it more. And she goes, did you do like a night care routine when you took off like the chemical peel? I said, yeah, I did. She goes, oh, you weren't supposed to do that. And I was like, oh, well, that's something you didn't tell me.
Right.
So
Great.
yeah,
So helpful. So happy for you.
yeah, I know,
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
getting back to you and self-care is important. I do believe self-care is important. So I think also as a performer, especially if you're performing 8 times a week and doing what you need to do, self-care is important. And I mean, you've
Mhm.
also spoken about before, working 8 shows a week on Broadway, how you have to like listen to yourself and like not go out and like party with people and just kind of like, I
Yeah,
wouldn't say like live as a hermit, but kind of just like know what you need to do to maintain what you can do on stage, if that makes sense.
definitely. Yeah, it's like put on your big girl pants. You need boundaries. You need to be your own parent and say, we don't go out on school nights, darling.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with other contracts I've worked on and other places I've worked, I've had more free time. And the jobs I was doing weren't, demanding my full attention and my full like participation in every part of my body. So I was like, yeah, I can go out multiple times a week with my friends and go to this person's house. And now it's just like, no, I have a certain, it's like my day is really broken up into, okay, I know I have this time to commute. Well, how can I use my commute? It's like I'm using every single minute of the day sort of like around this schedule.
Mhm.
And also, even if you do kind of like go have a free for all or whatever, or go out a bunch a week,
Mhm.
for me, I had to learn the hard way that like it's not worth it for me
Mhm.
because I feel so terrible the next day if I haven't gotten enough sleep or if I, was just out of the house the whole day, like on 2 show days and I'm wanting to, I don't know, stay up till 2 a.m. just to feel like I got my hours in my day back. It's like it's not worth it because I'm then exhausted, So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's backtrack a lot. So you,
Yeah.
so you're, were you originally from Baltimore?
No, so actually I was born and raised in Long Island, New York. That's
Where
where
I'm,
my mom is from.
I'm a Long Islander. Where on
You're
Long Island?
kidding.
No,
I'm
I'm
from Limbrook.
okay. I grew up in Wantagh.
Okay,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
I grew up going to Belmore because my
yeah,
aunt lives there, so right
yeah,
next door.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Oh
where
my
that is.
gosh, yeah. I go to the Carvel on Merrick Road in Wantagh for birthdays. Fudgy the Whale. Hello.
My parents are divorced, so like there would be weekends like when I wasn't with my dad, like my sister, my stepdad and I would like go to Blockbuster. That doesn't
Hmm.
exist anymore. And then we would
Yeah.
go to Carvel. And
Oh,
that would be like our weekends.
best day ever when you have
Yeah,
a Carvel cone or something.
yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up there, but then my family moved to Baltimore. And I have 3 siblings, so
Mhm.
I'm one of four, but of all of them, I had an exact split down the middle of my education. So I did all of my primary educations, like pre-K through 5 in Baltimore, and
Mhm.
then came back to Long Island and finished 6 to 12. So
Yeah,
I really got my education in two completely different systems
yeah.
and places because Baltimore's inner city, and then I was living in the suburbs.
Mhm.
Um, but I think actually recently I've looked back, I always said like I grew up half and half, but as I get older, I'm like, wow, I've spent so much more time in New York, and it's like sort of a looking at my identity in a new way
Yeah.
and like what story I used to tell about my sort of childhood in those two different places. But yeah.
So you were in 11th grade when you were like, "Oh, this is something I can do." And your music teacher was the one who helped you, and you were like, "I don't
Hmm.
want to do music." But
Yeah.
what where was the decision of like, "Oh, performing arts?" Like, how did your teacher help you realize that? How did you realize that? And what were your do you remember your audition pieces and what you auditioned and what colleges did you audition for?
Oh yeah. So, well, I had done In the Heights in 10th grade, and that's the show that I was like, oh, I love this so much.
Isn't that your favorite
Then,
musical?
yeah.
Yeah, don't I did my research. Don't worry, I know these
Yeah,
things.
you
Yeah.
did. Dang, it's my favorite musical. I think it just has a tender spot in my heart, obviously. Um, so I did In the Heights in 10th grade. That's what made me love theater. And then in 11th grade, everyone was sort of starting to look at schools. Schools were visiting and giving like pamphlets and stuff. And my teacher, yeah, brought up music and teaching. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not interested in teaching children. Um, I don't, there's something else. Like I have to do something else. And I had seen plays and I had, gone down YouTube holes and stuff about musicals and um, it's like, I think I want to do this. And he was so encouraging to me, but I don't think anyone really around me understood that it could actually be a career. And so I sort of just followed what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, so I was preparing, and because I live in Long Island, I took it upon myself to go into the city on weekends and go to the New York Public Library archives. And that's where I did research for my college auditions. And funnily enough, the first monologue I've ever done was for college auditions, and it was Get On Board, the opener for George C. Wolfe's The Colored Museum.
Wow.
Um, so that is pretty phenomenal to me. I brought the play I had from my auditions. I put it in my bag when I went in for auditions for Gypsy, just as sort of like a talisman. It was, oh my God, unbelievable. So that was my audition monologue, and I also sung. Think I did Raunchy from 110 in the Shade, a la Audra McDonald. Um, that actually In the Heights is a top musical for me. 110 in the Shade, I think, is my favorite musical because the music to me is so rich and just is so beautiful. But then, okay, so get back to where I auditioned. I auditioned for Marymount and wound up going there. But I also got waitlisted for Pace. I tried NYU, even though there was no way I could ever afford going there. Um, and I think Emerson College too. I didn't do that many because I mean, I didn't have money for applications and all of the traveling and stuff, but I tried my darndest.
I always love knowing where people went to see if it like or where they auditioned to be like, I went there. I actually went to Pace.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I got in and then I auditioned for the theater program. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So I didn't
Did
get
you enjoy it?
um the program is a lot different now than it was. Thank you for thinking I'm so young, by the way.
Hmm.
The program is so much different now from what it was when I was there. I
Hmm.
always think back to like when I think of college, like my senior year always pops into my head, and I had a really rough senior year, especially in that
Yeah.
department. And I don't like talking about it because I get so angered by it. But it's interesting,
Yeah.
like 10 plus years later, you have people who were like, no, you were right about everything that happened. Like you were like the good one. And I was like, where was
Hmm.
this 10 years ago? But
Yeah.
I mean, I have like great friends who I'm still like the closest to from Pace, and
Hmm.
I think you have your ebbs and flows. I was also a double major in communications, although my main focus was the theater program. And like I said, it's so different now from what it was.
Hmm.
And I think that I'm better suited as a director as opposed to a performer, even though I do
Mm.
I'm pretty good when I have my moments, but
Yes.
yeah, no, it's just it's very interesting because the program is so different now, and my friends and I joke like if we were to audition for Pace now, we wouldn't get in at all. Like,
It's so, so competitive.
no.
I'm just like so many of these theater programs, it's competitive, but it's also sort of like, do you have the money to go here? It's
Well, it's
tough.
interesting because you went to Marymount, but you were only there for 2 years and you dropped out, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Can we ask why, or do you not want to?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, fun, it was interesting. Like, we weren't in one of those programs that was completely against you auditioning outside of school, but it
Right.
just wasn't necessarily encouraged.
Yeah.
But then the head of our theater department wound up booking me, helping me book my first ever gigs.
Okay.
I did my first reading when I was in, I think, freshman year, um, professionally, like outside of school. And then I also did, summer stock away, which was my first time, and then sophomore year, that show that had the reading turned into an off-Broadway show. And I
Yeah.
was doing that at the end of my sophomore year. So, as we were approaching the springtime, I'm ending the requirements of acting for my program because I was a musical theater major or whatever. And they didn't require acting after that. So I'm like, so what am I here for the next 2 years if that's not required? That didn't feel right to my what I was seeking for my artistry.
Mhm.
And so there was that, and then I was like, well, I am booking outside of school, so how can what is my next move? And I couldn't afford to be there really,
Mhm.
unless I took out a shit ton of student loans.
Yeah.
So I decided to unenroll from Marymount. I transferred to Hunter College to their theater program. And I thought, I'm a New Yorker. I have so many AP credits and I have my Marymount credits. I'm going to graduate early. And while I'm doing this, I'm just going to go out and audition. I
Mhm.
spent a month at Hunter and was miserable.
Mhm.
The shift of class sizes and it just didn't feel as sort of like intimate. And I needed that.
Yeah.
Paired with they didn't accept like half my credits because they looked like the same thing on paper. Like if I took a theater history one and two, it just looked like one class, and I was like, they're completely different eras and times in history so I was just severely unhappy, and I literally went on my phone one day and unenrolled on my phone and was like, all right, if I'm doing this, I'll be sad for one day. And then I'm going like on playbill.com. I'm emailing people that I know saying, do you need anyone for this? Or I'm going to audition for that. And that's kind of how I just sort of got the ball rolling on my own.
Yeah. The hustle.
Yes,
The hustle is
yes.
real. So what I really in my research of you somebody asked about like your big break, and you said you don't necessarily know like if you've had your big break yet, or you guess like Gypsy's the big break. And what I think is so interesting is that what a lot of people don't understand is that like you see somebody having a moment, like you did The Notebook, and then you book Gypsy right away, which we'll definitely talk about. But a lot of people don't see like kind of behind the curtain. Like I don't want to say the struggle, but the work that goes into getting to, I don't want to say where you are, but like this point in your journey. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit to the people listening if, they want to get into this business, what it's, I guess we'll just say the hustle, the going to the auditions, trying to book something, you book something, what's the next thing? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. First, that just brought to mind an interview I saw Coleman Domingo do recently, where he talks about like his early days of acting. And I wish that I had someone who said this to me or could have instilled into me that you're not a struggling artist,
Hmm.
because I felt that way for a while.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing else I wanted to do. Believe me, if there was, I would have done it because it was hard. So much of my journey has felt, just like I've had to work hard, and I love hard work.
Yeah.
But there's, a lot that comes with that, like, um, you know, you are, as an actor, especially, and especially too if you don't have representation, which I got, eventually. You are your own boss. You're the only one who's going to make it happen if you want it to happen.
Hmm.
The waking up early, the finding out how do I warm up. Um, Even if you don't have auditions lined up, it's like the stay ready so you don't have to get ready mentality, I think. Um, so my sort of getting to today, and what my life looks like now, what my work looks like now, it's been a lot of different things. I think becoming part of a community and saying yes to so many people just for the sake of learning who they are and learning what their music is like. And, a lot of like the work I was able to do was based on connections, just because someone saw me in a concert at Green Room 42 and they go, huh, oh, I would love to hear you on this song that I wrote. And oh, come in, we're doing a reading. So much of it is just from things like that, of saying yes to a single event that then ripples into a new friendship with a writer or an actor, a director, And so that's been like the best part, I think, is um I think now reflecting is like, yeah, seeing all of the people I've come to love and watch them sort of flourish in their own things too. Um, I feel like I'm kind of getting off path. I'm not sure what the original question was.
Listen, we get off topic all the time. Like I had Leslie Margarita on once, and we talked about books for 20 minutes. So it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's so funny. Speaking of Leslie, because
Yes.
I always talk about, because
Oh,
I used to do, I mean, I still, different company, but back in my day, I did merch
mm-hmm.
Broadway shows and I do it once in a blue now.
Mm-hmm.
We always talked about like how, or at least I always say, you always need to be nice to people because front of house people talk. But I also, it's important to know too, like you always need to be nice to people because you never know who you're talking to. And Leslie and I were talking about that on air on podcast
Mm,
that, yeah, I, was nice to people like at Matilda and somebody who did
mm-hmm.
merch was producing years later, producing a concert at 54 Below and asked me to be a part of it.
Hello,
Yeah.
bingo.
So that's also like my biggest thing whenever I'm talking to someone on the podcast. Like I always say, be
Mm-hmm.
nice to everyone because like you never know. And plus people talk. So as
Yes, that.
gossipy as that is, but
Yeah. And
yeah.
you never know what people, like where people will go. Like maybe they, the next great whoever could be just someone who's on merch or an usher or something. They're, you know, that our whole house, our whole theater buildings are filled just with people who are so passionate about the stories. And so I agree with that.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of front of house people too, especially the young ones. I say that as someone who's much older now.
Ah,
They're aspiring performers and
hmm.
they're just happy to be in the room.
Yeah,
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 I think that's important. So let's
me too.
talk about more things. So like looking at your resume, some things that I thought were really cool was, you did the Little Mermaid regionally where you played Ariel. And
Hmm.
like that production just looks so cool based on the costuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love what Ursula looked like.
Oh my God, I know.
I loved your Ariel's costume interpretations.
Yes. Oh, the red wig, the red curly wig. It was like my hair texture and red. Oh, it was such a dream come true. It's
Yeah,
really cool.
and you were before Haley Bailey. Hallie, how do you pronounce it?
Yes, I
Halle Bailey.
was
Yeah.
Halle Bailey. Yeah, I was before her.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't have to
No shade. I love her.
do like the toss out of the ocean like she had to do, and she
Yeah,
said the wig was so heavy.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
We
that
did
was
not have a Disney budget, but we still had a great show.
yeah, again, that costuming was so smart. I loved
Hmm.
it so much. I also I mean, you did Lempicka, you did the
Hmm.
workshop of it, and then you played it at La Jolla. So what
Yeah.
was working on Lempicka like with Rachel Chapkin and Eden
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah.
So, so cool. I mean, I knew that I was witnessing something phenomenal. And every single show, I missed very few shows in which I would just sit backstage and watch Eden Espinosa do Woman Is. I was like, if I only get these, whatever, how many, 60 performances or something, to get to watch her do this, I want it seared into my memory
Yeah.
because she was just so captivating. And that song to me is like, it's just like incredible and so inspiring. So yeah, I treat everything like a master class and treat everything like I am in class. So I learned a lot there. I learned about how different people work. It was also a little crazy because we had we had Lempicka. I was scheduled to fly to La Jolla on April 1st, 2020 to do this production. So I happy April Fool's Day to me
Mhm.
on that one.
Yeah.
So it was so delayed. We did it in 2022. So not only was everybody willing, everyone was so ready and excited to do it, but we were also navigating using masks in rehearsal for the first time and, um, sort of learning to be social again. So that definitely was a part of being there too. But let me shout out Amber Iman and also Georgia Bood too. Just two fabulous, fabulous actors that I just also am just so inspired by. I love their work too.
So let's quickly get into then where did the notebook come in during the writing
Mm.
journey? Was it during, before, after? Where was that introduced to you?
Well, I booked Lempicka in 2019, the workshop, and then the other production. In 2021, in the summertime, I got my first auditions for the Notebook and booked the Chicago run for that following February, which also got delayed until the summer because of another COVID wave. I think it was the Delta virus, Delta strain or something. Um, it wound up working out perfectly for me, which was great because from May to July, I was in La Jolla and I flew directly from La Jolla to Chicago to do the Notebook. Yeah, so it was back to back
Yeah.
productions for me.
So how has it been I mean, Lempicka, people love Lempicka. I saw it. I really enjoyed it. I actually didn't get to see Eden. I saw her understudy, but I
Oh,
knew
Marianne is also
she was incredible. But I also like
yeah,
knew based on the understudy's performance, I was like, Eden's gonna get a Tony nomination for this. Like I
right.
just
She
um
must.
and
She
she did.
must.
She must and she
Yeah.
did. Um so Lempicka, and then you also have The Notebook, which is like a beloved novel and more so
Hmm.
movie. So how is it for you working on these brand new pieces?
I love it. I love new work. I love it so much. Um, and for me, The Notebook was like my favorite movie growing up. I love romance. I love some drama. It was like a comfort movie for me.
You want to hear a
Um,
fun fact about The Notebook?
Please,
So
always.
Ryan Gosling has blue eyes.
Uh-huh.
James Gardner, who plays older Noah, does not. So
Uh-huh.
he said to James Gardner, like, hey, how about like different colored contacts? And he's like, no. So Ryan Gosling wore different color contacts. Yeah.
Whoa. I just adore him.
I hope I'm like 100% right on this because like watch people go back and be like, you're wrong. But I'm 99.9% sure I read or heard that somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like what his face looks like in that movie. Like,
Yeah. I think he
which
put on like brown.
still.
Yeah. And he made the table that they ate at in the movie, which like is,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, well
I heard
known.
that.
Yeah. But the contacts thing I feel like isn't as like known as a thing.
It's like the epitome of just the small things it takes to just, live the real life of that person.
Yeah.
That's the dedication, right? Like
Mhm.
it's as simple as, putting in a colored contact for continuity's sake, why not?
I love that too. I mean, one of
Exciting.
my favorite things I also noticed, this is like total side note, but I love things like that. I went to see Angels in America for a second time and I sat
Hmm.
front row and I noticed that the mug on Roy Cohen's desk was an octopus because he has a line, I think in like the second part saying like, I want to be an octopus, a fucking octopus. Or he might have said that
Yes.
at some point in the show. Maybe he says it
Yeah.
in the scene, but his mug is an octopus. So I love
Oh
stuff
my
like that.
gosh.
Little
I do
Easter eggs.
too.
Yeah.
Like you have to go back and be like, oh my God, it was there the whole time.
I also like this is really weird, but I also like totally stalked your Instagram yesterday as well. And
Love.
and today, and then I noticed like you were taking a photo with Joy and your nail color. Do you have like a specific nail color you have to wear as June?
No,
Okay.
actually, I have no nail color.
Okay.
Typically, I am such a bull in a china shop. I
Mhm.
don't feel that way about myself. However, manicures reveal that to me because I will literally ruin a gel manicure in a day. And I'm like, what was I doing? But typically for Allie and for June, if I do have nail color on, I just go pretty basic. I'll do like a light sandy color, or I'm thinking of like a baby pink.
Mhm.
I'm going on vacation next week, so I think I'm gonna do a baby pink.
You.
Yeah.
It's also announced, anybody listening,
Yes, yes,
announcing
yes.
you're not
But
going to be here.
March 4th through 9th, I'm on vacation. I'll be back
Good. You'll tell me where you're
ASAP.
going after.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, because we're like limited on time, but I just want to make sure
Hmm.
we get through everything. So, let's just get into it. The Notebook, the Broadway debut,
Yeah.
original cast album, people fucking The Notebook. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not a cold-hearted person, but I feel like a lot of times, like, I just don't cry at musicals. And it's like nothing against anyone or like cry.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm older, I do now, but I sobbed so
Oh,
much during The Notebook. And I had one of my best friends with me who's just like known for crying at everything.
yeah.
And so she was like 10 times worse than I was. So it was such a beautiful, beautiful musical. Can you just like
Oh, thanks.
let's just talk about the Notebook. Like, what do you want to talk about with it?
Oh
Dealer,
my
not
God.
dealer's choice, guest choice, whatever you want to talk about with the Notebook.
There's so much to say. It was a dream come true. Like I said actually around 2021, I was setting new goals for myself as the world was sort of shifting and coming back into theater, possibilities and stuff. And I go, what kind of roles do I want to play? And I said, I want to be a romantic lead in a piece. I didn't even, it could be a movie, a film, a musical. I want to be a romantic lead because I love that sort of like searching for each other and finding each other. I love that kind of connection in storytelling. And then I got the audition. And as soon as I got the audition, I was like, this is for me. I was like, it was that, yeah, yeah, I'm supposed to do this one.
Yeah.
So flash forward to the whole experience. I feel like these flickers of images. Michaela Reynolds, is a photographer who, she captured a lot of the photos of the opening night red carpet, and there's one that's in black and white of me, and the marquee is in the back, and that feels like sort of like wrapped up the whole feeling of it for me because it was in black and white. It was like, wow, I've now joined a part of history with my vessel and like what I'm, here to do. And it was I could not have asked for a better night from my opening. I really think it was everything I've ever wished it would be, which is not always how things go. That opening night, there were so many small and big sort of like celebration moments. Like your first preview is celebrated, and I didn't expect that. People were saying on the first preview, like, congrats on your Broadway debut. I was like, no, it's in a month. And they're like, no, you did it tonight. And that's when it broke me.
I will say, because you have spoken about it before, and I always like in my head, I'm also confused about that too as well. So like don't because it's
But
like
it's
you're technically
technically,
making your Broadway debut first night of previews, but then like technically, it's also like opening is like the
yeah,
official Broadway debut. So I've always
yeah.
myself as like a theater nerd, fan, what have you, has seen like hundreds of Broadway shows over the years. Like I'm still confused by that.
I
So
think
I
it's
guess
the
it's like
previews.
whatever feels best to you, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, your feet are on the stage, people are in seats and ready to see you. That's your debut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I met some incredible people who I'm still friends with. I love my Joy Woods. She is just the freaking one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. I'm just like so glad to have had this partnership with her on stage and off stage now. Um, where she's just herself and she's so goofy and it's not all about the glamour or the like, I don't know, the other stuff. She just makes it easy to show up to work and just sort of be yourself.
Yeah.
So that's been exciting. My dear John Cardoza, I've never
Who, by the
the
way, I just feel like
uh,
anybody listening, go see him in Moulin Rouge before he leaves.
please,
Like I saw Moulin Rouge a few weeks ago, and that current cast is so, pardon my French, fucking great. He is
gorgeous,
such
stunning.
a great Christian,
He's
especially in the
amazing.
second act when he goes insane. Like
Yeah.
he's such a good Christian.
He's about the work. He's about the work. He's like, what is this heartbeat of this guy? And he's gonna find it. He
Yeah.
is one of the most dedicated actors I've worked with. He is so and ready to hold whatever his partner brings to him too. And that was what I was really grateful for. We played so much to the very last show we had together, which was such a blessing that we got to leave together because I don't know how I could have done a last show of The Notebook without him. He was my everything in that show. And yeah, I mean, there's so much to say. I also found my mentor and I said this to her. She's like my soulmate, one of my soulmates here on this planet, Marianne Plunkett. Just
Yeah.
everything I aspire to be in a person and an actor.
Just also they just really great performances in the Notebook too. Just like all around. Like it was
We just
shot
all loved
wonderfully. Like
it.
it was I mean, and it's also like that show, like from what in my head, like just means a lot to people. I have a friend who saw it like three times.
Yes,
I only could see it once. I'm like, I can't like
it's a lot.
yeah. And also like kudos to the merch team for like selling tissues
You
for a
know,
while and then they stopped and they started again, I think. But no, it was great. So, I mean, you're also, I just want to say this now, like, I enjoyed talking to you so much. You are welcome back anytime because I feel like
oh
we have
my
so
God.
much more we can talk
We
about.
really do have so much more. I'm like, this is barely anything. I'm scratching
No,
the
so that's why,
surface.
like, I kind of want to, like, jump now into Gypsy and our last few
Sure.
minutes that we have. So you're in the Notebook, you're loving up next to your Noah, your
Oh,
John.
yes.
No, you have technically no facing scenes with Joy. And
Yes.
I know you keep your auditions close to your chest. Wait, how did Gypsy come to you? Did you like reach out to your people and was like, Audra Gypsy? Or were they like, oh, hey, Gypsy?
They said, "Hey, Gypsy." Even my agents were like, "Not sure she's right for this, but the breakdown says I think it said like a light-skinned black daughter as June. Like that was part of the requirements. Can sing X, Y, and Z, grounded, whatever it was the breakdown. And I was like, well, she could do that. I don't know about her dancing. That was really it for me. I was like, me neither. But guess what? I hadn't even seen Gypsy before, so I didn't know fully what the role was. I mean, I don't. Oh, I take it case by case whether I research what like whether I watch prior runs if it's a revival or something. And with this one I was like, no, I'm not watching anything. I've already seen like Patti LuPone's Rose's Turn, and I know some of the hit songs from school, and I was like, that's all I need. I'm gonna make her my own as
Mhm.
I try my best to do. And but no, I'm telling you, Joy was the first person who brought it up to me in May, and when announcements were made, and she's like, "Oh my God, Audra Gypsy." I was like, "Okay." Like, I love Audra McDonald. She's my favorite. Like literally the reason I do this partially. And I was like, "Can't wait to see her." Like, what do you want me to say?
Mhm.
I don't know anything about this golden age music. I don't know. So I definitely had. It was not even close to being on my radar, and I've heard from multiple people in our cast that that is how they felt as well. And I think especially as like Black people who are doing musical theater, why would it be? It's never, included us in the way it does in this, iteration of it.
Mhm.
So it's been sort of beautiful to just watch how the story holds up, even though we all look different and have different sort of backgrounds than have ever been brought to it.
So I did want to ask this because you mentioned that you're kind of a little bit of a dramaturg. And what I also really love about you, and it reminded me of Jessica Chastain a little bit because she said like she does her research. And when she was doing her research for The Help, she talked
Mm,
about where her character is from and how she's surrounded by, people of color and how that
mm.
really informed her relationship with oh my God, why can't I think of her name and the character? Minnie, her maid Minnie. Like that really informed her
I
relationship.
don't know the characters well, but Viola was in that.
It was
Octavia.
Octavia's character. So
Yeah,
that like,
yeah.
really informed her relationship with her. So you said that you really like doing your research, like the time, the place,
Yeah, I love it.
costume. So what was your research like for doing Gypsy, and how did that inform you for your character, especially for like what the show is with it being performed by like people of color and all of that?
Mm. Well, there are sort of like big, I mean, this is such a rich history,
Mhm.
like to dig into, because you have this little pillar of show business
Yeah.
that existed in America. And so
Mhm.
that's kind of where I started was the vaudeville circuit. Stars, like the first stars ever to come out of vaudeville, who were, young white women, and also like Josephine Baker. You had other people who were Black women too who were doing the vaudeville circuit and you know making their money and livelihoods off of that too. So I started with that sort of like looking up the titles, stars who are traveling the circuits and stuff like that. I love looking into like fashion of the era and then thinking, okay, well, this particular family does not have money, so it's like that informs like what my character as a young girl wants to be wearing versus the stuff that she has to put on her body because that's all she can afford. It's like give it all of that kind of gives your feeling of self-esteem or lack thereof, and it just helps, yeah, to know how you carry yourself in the world or how you would have if you lived in that time period. um yeah, politically there was so much going on too. So, but I really focused on like the show business kind of like history of vaudeville to begin with.
Yeah. I really the if Mama Were Married scene to me, I was like, oh, she's so good. that was like for me, I was like, I can't. Like even my friends and
Oh.
I were like, she's incredible. Like we just like were like gagging. There you go. We were just like, you're wonderful in the show. And it's really, to
Thank
me, like,
you.
that's why I was so excited to have you come on because like she's such a standout to me in the show. And you're with like beloved Danny Burstein and Queen Audra and like Joy Woods. And
I
again,
know.
loves Leslie and Kober, who is
Yeah, I
didn't
love them
even have a
all.
scene with Leslie, but still
I
like,
know.
yeah,
They're all so talented. I think what Gypsy has revealed to me about itself is that like you it's a room where you can't really look over your shoulder and feel any kind of way about what you're bringing because everyone is required to bring their exact unique stamp.
yeah,
Like nobody's doing what Cobra's doing. Nobody's doing with what Leslie's doing. There's no competition at all. It's literally like we all play this swirling sort of function around Rose.
yeah.
How can I be that one piece that drives her over the edge?
Yeah.
Kind of.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, in the last few minutes that we have, you have mentioned before, like one of the people you would want to work with is Audra McDonald.
Yes.
It's happening. What was your reaction? What was the feeling of like, was it a, oh shit, I'm working with Audra McDonald?
Yes. So actually, I met Audra early last year. We did a reading for something, and that was the first time I'd ever met her in person. And I was like, wow. Because I don't feel like a fangirl of many things. I
Yeah.
don't get really crazy about when I meet people. I'm like, wow, I loved you in that. And that's the end of it. It's just like respect for people's art, right?
Yeah.
I have tried so hard to play cool as a cucumber. And I think I have never, I doubt she'll listen to this, but if she does, I love you. I'm just like, I've never had this experience before where I'm just like, I don't know how to be a social being anymore because this person is just, there's no way she can know that I could get emotional because her voice and her work, you know, was what I had in my childhood bedroom as like a glimmer of hope of escaping certain parts of my, childhood that I didn't love and, coming into my adulthood, like her voice was a guide. So, so I've been playing it cool and being like very professional. I don't think she knows how much I really adore and love her. And now knowing more, who she is outside of her work too is like, yeah, you're the real deal. You're, a generous artist and a generous human being who just is here using the gifts that you were given to like change the world.
Do you ever get a moment where you get to kind of, because you're not really in the second act, but do you kind of just like sneak somewhere to watch her do Rose's turn?
Yep,
Every
often.
day.
Yeah. I sneak to watch her in a lot of moments. I watch Rose's Turn. I watch Funny. What's the song? With Danny when she first meets Herbie. I'm always watching her. I'm always watching her because what, you know, again, time flies and I'm on a year contract right now. After that, I don't get to see this performance again. Why would I sneak into the wings, to just get every last drop I can?
Yeah. So I feel like I mean, what else do you want to say about Gypsy?
Mm.
Again, guest choice as we come in our last few moments.
I think I hope people keep coming to see it and just know that it's so freaking funny. I'm so excited that like new audiences get to see it and people who have loved it before, but like for the people who have never seen it, um it's so powerful. And I think with my experience on it, what I hope comes across is just like I get to play young characters, and there's such a power in that because now I'm also at the age in my own life where even if I'm playing someone younger, I now have a self-esteem that I never, ever had at those earlier times, but I get to make those people have it. Or like let June follow her intuition because she knows something is wrong,
Yeah.
and to give that empowerment to her. Or like Allie knew who she loved from the beginning and got deterred but came back to that voice. So it's like that's what I hope people take from it. I think, yeah, I just keep coming to see it.
I will say, and as I mentioned, I've never seen Gypsy before, so having my first experience be Audra McDonald Gypsy, it's
Hmm.
kind of like a great thing because she is like one of the best performances I've ever seen on stage is her in Lady Days Emerson Bar and Grill. And I remember calling my mom after and being like, it was a master class in acting. So yeah.
It's
Well,
just, yeah.
you can stay on once I'm done recording, but I just want to thank you so much for coming on. Again, it was so you I feel like we didn't even like scratch the surface of
I did
anything.
not. I know.
Just like I like you are coming back on at some point whenever
I
you
would love,
want.
I would
So
love
we
that.
can you can talk about whatever you want because we even have like a teacher in common. We didn't even get to talk about like
What
we
was it?
Danny Super.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, girl, I got like a whole page of stuff that we didn't talk
Oh
about.
my gosh.
Yeah, you need to come back.
I would love to.
Oh my God, let's be friends.
Maybe next time we'll have wine.
You know what? I have like an entire thing over here of wine. So
Yes.
I will have, we can do like, we'll do like a Sunday or Monday when you're not
Yes.
working.
An
We'll do like,
evening something.
yeah, an evening. We'll have wine. I don't know what else you eat. I'll have something.
Hors d'oeuvres, some
Sure.
happy hour.
Yeah, it'll be great. Well,
I
thank
would
you
love
so much
that.
for coming on. Come on again. We'll have a Kiki, a
Yes,
virtual
thank you
Kiki.
so much for having
Of
me. It was so
course.
exciting.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening. Go see Gypsy. Jordan is so incredible in this show. Take her do a high kick and then pay for her to get a massage after. Just
Yeah.
all
Venmo
right.
me, Zelle, it's fine.
Yeah. All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And thank you all for listening.